Righty, what's up, guys? Welcome to the live stream. Wanted to do something a bit different. I have not scalp traded in a while, so I figured, why not do a little scalp trade? Try that out, see what happens with that, and yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so yeah, and let me just see, make sure. Okay, it looks like the stream's going okay. Smash the likes, guys. Always appreciate that. If you have any questions, check out the chat. Um, so yeah, Sunday morning. What time is it? Probably like 9 a.m. for some of you guys. Sunday morning, and yeah, we got the I guess NFL games starting in a few hours. Always a good time of year, that fall winter season for the NFL games, and yeah, and let's see here. Let's see. So yeah, well, let's get into it. I mean, I'll show you kind of one of the scalp trading techniques that, and I probably should have like taken profits when we were up here. I entered this a little while ago. Went to the gym. What's up, Eric? Appreciate you. So 200 EMA. This is a interesting strategy that I've tried out rather recently, and so it's probably as long kind of the strategy is if you're when you're above this, you're generally looking for longs, look for trigger waves and such on lower time frames, and then this would be trying to get it up to 112. Obviously, trading volume is going to be low. A trade like this, they'll kind of hunt you. And I was put some money on a brand new exchange, TapBit. A lot of the South Koreans like to use this exchange. Not bad. It's a pretty good like non KYC, non VPN option if you guys are interested. And man, I put more than I probably should have in this, but it's for the stream. It's for fun, and yeah. I mean, it's kind of you get the stop loss in and all that. So I'd say there's some some technique here. I've done pretty well with scalps. Especially with some of the moving averages and stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you look at kind of this market objectively, I mean, I think the big thing that we want to realize here, from more of a macro investing standpoint, is um, you want November. You kind of really need a new all-time high by November. Even more important by end of year, but I don't think if you can't get some momentum in November, it's probably kind of over. You know, we'll see what happens during Thanksgiving, during Christmas, during those kind of areas. Usually, you either you could get, I mean, 2020 get a Thanksgiving dump, and then Christmas was a Santa rally. I would argue one of those probably would be somewhat bullish, and the other one would be could be bearish. It's hard to say, obviously, but usually you do get some movement there. Santa rally. I mean, the big question here, and for the longest time, since kind of the peak in 2021 or January of 22, every others has bled against Bitcoin, but you're in kind of these areas that you've very important area, and you jumped upward. Same area here in this bull run jumped upward. Same area in this bull run, jumped upward quite a bit. Nice. The thing is, some of these coins that everyone thought were long gone are coming back. I don't know if that's a good sign for the altcoin market. Like, I don't even know what to make of that. I mean, Dash, I made a little bit of money with that. Well, probably more than a little bit of money, actually, given that everything went parabolic back in 2021. But it's not something I've had any interest in since then. Um, Major bleeder, obviously, against Bitcoin, and a pretty doggone dead token. Um, I was looking at Bitcoin versus DXY. Generally the pattern here is like 88, 84, 80. You can do the math. The next correction for this would be 76, unless things are different this time around. This is not an exact, but I'd say a pretty good indication of Bitcoin. Bitcoin adjusted for inflation. So if you were to come down, 76 or whatever, I'm curious where that would be kind of your bear market or summer 21 lows. I just want to see that again, summer 21 lows. So, okay, so in terms of buying power, if you came down, 76% in terms of buying power, Yeah, it would probably be higher than yeah, it would be a bit higher than these lows. So it'd probably be like, instead of 30K, like 40K. I mean, what was inflation? What was your inflation in the past 5 years? Pretty bad, right? It would probably be down to 40K, which would make sense, kind of, generally what we do when those those bear market years or whatever. Um, so yeah, realistic price top for ETH for this year. I mean, hate to say it, but I'm leaning more towards that we've already, kind of peaked out. Yeah. Hate to say it, but I mean, this 3 week is what scares me. I mean, that for the longest time, I've said this 3 week, once this starts printing and confirms, and every day that goes by, it gets more likely that it's going to confirm, unless we get a jump up in the next 2 weeks, you're probably kind of nailing the coffin for this bull run, unfortunately. You made a new all-time high in ETH, which is better than a hell of a lot of altcoins. You did not make a new all-time high in your Bitcoin pair. However, for Ethereum, I was on CVOs on Data Dash with CVO Crypto Paul Sampson. And we were talking about, when's the last time the Fed ended QT, this situation, and then you did well against Bitcoin for years. So, I would even argue, where are you kind of in this situation? I mean, if you're, if you can pull off something like this again, let's say, I would hope for, some situation like that. If you're, more, I guess that would be 2027. Um, it could, I mean, it's obviously not going to be that crazy, I don't think, to back to a new all-time high. People would be talking about flippening and all that. I remember when last time people were talking about flippening was, and ended, obviously at the exact high here, and then it just fell off a cliff against Bitcoin. But yeah, I mean, you could see something along this nature. Many years of ETH outperforming Bitcoin, assuming ETH, is around and survives, and doesn't, kind of become a relic. But I think the odds of that are pretty low. I do think ETH can kind of lead. I mean, I would say ETH even led this bull run to a certain extent. I mean, ETH was the big powerhouse. And I mean, given that it outperformed Bitcoin for that long, and even in this bull run, I mean, ETH did outperform. I would say it didn't lead as much in this bull run because it had a big drop against Bitcoin in, a lot of 2017. Looks like more than half of 2017. So maybe it was more like this, then you had your kind of, jump up. Where are we right now? We're like kind of right here. Um, but we're right here, and at the same time we're right here. It's weird to explain, but you know what I mean? Like it's still, it's hard to explain. I don't know what what am I getting at, but yeah, I don't know. I think you're more in this situation based on QT and all that. You know what I mean? I mean, realistic price. So if we can get a 4x from that all-time high we made by the end of the decade, that would be 20K. I'd say ETH could be 15, 20K by the end of this decade. If all goes well, that'd be a $2 trillion market cap. I don't see any reason why it couldn't do that. That situation. We didn't get quite there this one. I mean, I guess we could, have more momentum and more good things happen, but as of right now, it just doesn't look like. I mean, I still am like 70% in. And I'm just going to keep, DCing out, over into the end of the year. And the way I see that is like if the bull run's completely over, I'm not getting killed too bad. I'm still probably selling most of my ETH for profit, or if pretty much all of it for profit. And I think all of it for profit. I don't know why yeah. But if we do rally and go crazy over the next 3 months, I mean, I'll still do pretty damn well. I mean, if you think that, I mean, there's people that were, there's people thinking we're getting 10x for the average alt in the next 3-4 months. Not that many people think that, but there's people that have talked about that. If you go on Twitter, you could find literally anything you could imagine, as you guys know. But if we do get that, I'll still do really well. I mean, 10x, all you need is 10 or 20K in the market, and that's multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, 10x, you need 100 grand in the market for a mil, so there's still that potential. So yeah. But as of right now, we're just trying to, I mean, let me just, this EMA, I probably should, kind of get more cautious about this trade. Yeah, because I went long kind of on the 5 minute. I was just messing with the 200 EMA. Lower time frames, yeah, this is not looking that hourly. Yeah, I kind of want to close this out. It would have been more exciting too because this kind of trade that I took on the 5 minute, like, yeah, that jump, you want to kind of, there's where it starts like to kind of scale out a bit. So yeah, to kind of get out of it, but we'll see what happens. I mean, this is just pure. Don't do this. This is just me like messing around a little bit, but I mean, some of your alts. I mean, where would they end up? And probably not as bad as you may think. You know, where would they? I mean, the ones that will survive. I mean, I guess if you want to be really freaking pessimistic, $3 for AVEX down the coffin going to zero, but that's pretty much zero at that point. I would say. I mean, it's anything's possible, but yeah. I mean, if you think it can, I mean, I know. Shout out to Ben Cowan. He was comparing it to Dash to a certain extent. I forget. Let me find a chart with more Dash. Yeah, he was comparing. I think he was comparing it to like over. I forget where anyway, but I think it was more against like the Bitcoin situation. But obviously, you know, worst bull run here. I'm just curious, what was your. So 70% from. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. From that high here to 55. Yeah, so it was actually better than freaking Dash was in this bull run, in this, you know, little. Yeah, it couldn't even compete with that 2024 situation. Man, very lackluster. But just like that. And then what did Dash do? Um, let's go back to Dash. You know, no, let me just Kraken or whatever had more data. But yeah, and then that where did yeah, from there you just November 21, and then so I guess you could argue, yeah, I mean it's yeah. I mean, what was this correction from there to the, yeah, 92% down? So yeah, there's a lot of dead crap, and then this comes out of, you know, just comes out of nowhere and does what, a 10x? No, I'm just kidding. It's not a, you know, 300% or something. So yeah, I mean, there's that. I mean, I hate to be pessimistic, but just being kind of objective. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. Well, the thing is too, like it's more of a hedge game. That's what people don't understand really, because it's like, you know, if you're just betting everything that the price is going to go up or the price is going to go down, like if you're wrong, you're really wrong. But if you're kind of hedging it in a way where you could do well regardless, especially if you're already ahead on whatever, you know. Um, so yeah, but yeah, people will probably criticize me for being red in this trade. It's okay. It's okay. Um, Let me see actually, because we could kind of reverse. You're still in the like looking for. So it's a technique I got from. Believe it or not, Brandon Carter has a decent technique for kind of scalping, um, and this, you know, trigger right here, and you're kind of looking at it combined with other EMAs and stuff. But now that you're losing this one, it's more, yeah, especially a volatile asset. But I feel like weekend actually could help you a little bit with that, but never do weekend trading. You always find a way to lose money. But maybe it could help you a little bit because less volatility, I guess. I don't know, or more weird sideways volatility for scalping. Nah. Thinking about it more, no, probably not. It is looking like Bitcoin dominance kind of is wanting to stay above 60% or whatever. There was more potential earlier of more bearish things and rejecting from 60%. Now it's looking a little bit more like the more bullish things on this macro want to play out, like this trigger wave to the upside here on the 2 week. Given that circumstance, I think, you know, I drew out the place for the last time the Fed, you know, ended QT from there. So from that aspect, we would likely, you know, probably do something of this nature into January, or maybe, you know, 64 or something. And then, you know, when everyone, you know, gives up or whatever, doesn't care anymore, then you do that into, you know, what was here. You know, 2020 was like your, yeah, I mean, your year before the halving year. 21 was the halving year before. The halving year I know is or no, that was the halving year. The next halving year is what, 28? Yeah, 28. So, not exactly. I mean, it could be different in some ways, but you know, it's only that. Like I don't think this is going up to. I mean, I guess it could go up to these highs, you know, if you think it's going to be like, you know, that time. But I don't know. At the end of QT and generally what the Fed does, I wouldn't think so. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's still obviously the weekend I was looking at. Let's look at. So Berkshire Hathaway overheated like everything else. However, Blood Diamond Galore, not too good. Um, Down 30% is S&P 500 and starting to get some type of reaction at that level. I feel like there's some big honchos, old money always makes more money, that are looking at this like I am and thinking you potentially could outperform the S&P 500 as you did in 2022 and as you did in 2018 and 2014 as well overall. I mean, it's negligible in some ways, but if you zoom out, it does outperform the S&P 500. It's hard to find things that do that. And then, you're looking at a very overheated, NASDAQ as well, back down to this level. And this is interesting too because, obviously you bled against the NASDAQ for sure, bled against the NASDAQ for this whole, generally this whole like 20-year period, let's say. A lot of things go in 20s, more so during this 10-year period. I mean, this was kind of, all over, but yeah, NASDAQ, you would have got a little bit of compound interest too, I believe. But then this area, so maybe the tides are turning a little bit, but sometimes they say don't fight the trend. But I mean, it's a conservative kind of, investment for a potential midterm, for a potential bear market year, potential midterm election year. It's half bonds right now. So, I mean, if you do think the TLT will come up a little bit, which I do as well, then it may not be the worst thing. So there's that. I mean, let's look at the SPY. I mean, let's look at, overheated, keeps just breaking through, levels or whatever. I mean, generally when you do, it'll probably go up a little bit more into the end of the year, I think. The thing too is Bitcoin sometimes foreshadows. It's probably a better word to say. Bitcoin foreshadows. It foreshadows what the traditional markets will do. So if Bitcoin topped out in October, within a few months, within maybe 3-4 months, S&P 500 likely tops out. Last time in 2021, Bitcoin topped out in November, but S&P 500 didn't top out till January. So if it's similar to that, and it probably won't exactly be similar to that, but what was that? 3 months, December, January, okay, 2 months later. So if this is 2 months later, it'd be November, December. You got one more bullish month. You got Bullvember for traditional markets. Maybe Bitcoin's kind of sideways or whatever, and then things kind of, that's the most boring, irritating, situation. But yeah, and then everything else kind of, falls over. So there's that potential. I mean, you could also let's look at SPY Gold. It's a nice double bottom. I think the big thing here is, does this play out like a triple bottom, or do we break lower against gold? I don't know. I mean, SPY has outperformed gold pretty well since, how much did it bleed against? 90% against gold. Yeah, I mean, bled 90%. Berkshire Hathaway bled 80%. They're in that same area against gold. So, I mean, gold is a power asset, and that monthly going into the red. Usually monthly going to the red means one of two things. It means you're done, you done, fall off a cliff. It did take some time for us to play out though, but or it acts kind of as resistance or support, excuse me, as a support, and you jump up. I've been tricked by that a few times. I'm sure everyone has, and I don't know. I mean, the thing with, let's look at this a little bit more here. So if you look at, like, when was the last time the S&P 500 outperformed gold, or gold outperformed the S&P 500? 2022 to a certain extent, a little bit, not a crazy amount, but it did. So if it's like that, you will break down farther for SPY Gold. And let's look at 2018. Yeah, no, well, no, it outperformed it in 2018. So if you skip that generation, but that monthly does look not good. You know what I mean? The monthly don't look too, don't look too good. But okay, guys, always appreciate you smashing the like button. I added a new link down below for TapBit if you guys want to sign up on that. new exchange that I've been using. No KYC, no VPN. Pretty good in that aspect. This one's cool. So because of inflation and everything, I normally give people, a hundred. If they sign up and deposit $100 on any of the exchanges with my link down below, you get one free month in Discord. We're gonna up that to 200 because of inflation. But yeah, 200 and you get $100 bonus. Pretty good. They don't give these too often, so check it out if you guys are interested. I mean, deposit 200, get 100 bonus. Not too bad. You have 300 to mess around with that. It's not a lot of money, but and you get 20% for your fees for life only with my link. I was able to get you that. So these are the deposits, those bonuses. I think these ones are kind of the best right now. If you want, check it out. Nah, UI pretty good. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So yeah. And I was using it a little bit more. This one is the one a lot of the South Koreans use, and some of them only know 50x leverage. So your boy's gotta. If we're going into the bear market, your boy's gotta up the trading aspects. Obviously, very risky. Be careful, but this is more. I got the stop loss in, and you guys are seeing the stop loss there. So yeah. What's up, awesome Mystic? But yeah. This is just pure. I mean, as long as we kind of stay above like 110 here, I'm not too concerned. But I would like to, jump back above the. I'd say this is kind of a coin flip here, jump above the VWAP. I haven't done too much scalp trading. I mean, I like to give you guys in the Discord and all that, more swing trades and stuff because I think that's better, especially for a beginner. Probably better in general, less stress and less nonsense, But yeah. I always appreciate you guys smash the like button, subscribing if you're new. Feel free to try to ask don't ask any stupid questions, but feel free to ask good questions. I think this is a big turning point too. Bitcoin DXY. I mean, right now I would think sideways to more bullish for November if I really had to try to guess here. But it is scary on your higher time frames. Like I think we're losing momentum. You know what I mean? I think we unfortunately are losing momentum. I'm just being objective, guys. Fear and greed is not. I mean, I guess if you could break above where we are now, then there's still a shot of everything rallying to, extreme greed, and that being the place to get the hell out in like January or whatever. But I don't know if that's. I don't know if that's what we're seeing quite yet. Anyway. This is like in a free fall, unfortunately. I think unless you see something crazy happen between now and the end of the year, and I've been listening in on some of the Twitter spaces for these communities, and no bueno, in my opinion. I mean, you're down 98% against ETH. It's just not. I mean, the thing too for market cap here is you're still not below in terms of actual like USD price. I think you're not below these areas, so that's all right. But in terms of ETH, it's just a free fall here. This would be, I mean, you're kind of selling into support if you're selling it now, but yeah, I mean, that was always a gamble. I still have mine, but it's kind of always a gamble. We'll see, in the next few weeks, we'll see if November could bring us that green month, I don't know if it will. I don't know, because if it's like that 2019 where they ended QT, then it won't. If it's like that, then it won't. It'll everything will just generally go down for the next 6 to 8 months. I didn't. Yeah, I saw there's been a little bit of MEXC FUD. I have not used MEXC in years, bro. It's just it just isn't the exchange it used to be. I mean. There's always been, well, not always, but this isn't the first time I've heard about FUD with MEXC. I mean, I personally never had an issue with it, but in recent years after I stopped using MEXC, I've heard more things. Their fees are low, but sometimes I've heard, I haven't really experienced it too much or noticed it too much, but you do get like a worse exchange rate sometimes. It's kind of like how there's no fees when you buy and sell stocks, but yeah. So anyway, um, what was I gonna say? Yeah. So I mean, that's that. I mean, just thinking here. Yeah. I mean, I don't. I think it's mostly FUD. I do think if these markets really, I mean, history rhymes. It doesn't repeat. That's the main thing. I mean, there's probably going to be exchanges that go down. I would argue it probably wouldn't be as catastrophic as. I mean, I feel like 2022 is absolutely the worst case. Like if you couldn't even imagine a worse situation in 2022 because the thing with there was like I remember some people, I think it was Willy Woo's blog or whatever. He said like for Bitcoin to go under 40K again, like you'd need mass, like you know how you need Tesla to sell, and then Tesla did sell. You know what I mean? Nobody really saw that. Tesla did sell, and they sold more in 2022 at 30K or whatever. I think they were kind of I think most people know that they were kind of forced to because I don't know, they wouldn't get their government subsidies or whatever, you know, some crap like that. But yeah, um, you know. Um, some influencers said to get off. Yeah, I mean, it don't hurt to get off. I think that I don't know if I'm really seeing enough of a. There would have to be probably some sketchy stuff going on with them for them to actually be a liquid. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know if that's. I don't know. I feel like they already would have with all the FUD. I mean, I feel like if it's going to collapse, if it's going to collapse because there's stuff that these influencers know that we don't know, or these people, you know, in X know that we don't know, it probably will collapse within a week or two. If there isn't, then it still could collapse, but it would probably take longer, and you'd need Bitcoin to crash a lot more. I would say. Um, yeah, I mean, I would keep funds spread around a little bit on different exchanges. It's been pretty. I mean, most of the exchanges. I mean, have any of the real Chinese exchanges gone down, or the the Asian exchanges, have they really gone down? It's mostly, I mean, FTX went down, Celsius went down. Yeah, Machinsky was basically an American. He was Israeli, but I mean, American accent, and all that. I think he lived in the U.S. too. He's in jail for how long? I forget. Not that long, right? Like what, half of what? I forget. I always forget about him. He's like the little, yeah. But yeah. What was that? Yeah, so Machinsky. I mean, who else went down? Trying to didn't the hedge fund go down? Gemini Earn went down too, which that was probably the most surprise. Nobody really thought that would go down. Um, I would say, this time around, it probably would be pretty unlikely that you will see things go down. I think, but it'll be a shadow of what you saw last time, unless they're really betting Bitcoin's not going to go. I think the big thing is last time a lot of people were really betting that Bitcoin wouldn't go under 20K or under 30K or whatever. And it did go under those numbers. So, I mean, you would think people would have learned, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't really have much business doing crap with options or leverage on Twitter that have been doing stuff with options and leverage for crypto. I'm not gonna say any names, but it's like some people in their 50s and 60s too that really have no business doing. You know what I mean? Like if it's somebody in their 20s, yeah, that's expected. But it's really people with no business to be doing, leverage or options on Bitcoin at the freaking, all time high, before a midterm election year, with an insanely overheated Nasdaq and all that. They don't really. I don't think those people have much business doing loans and all that. And you saw the same thing at the end of 2021 with Celsius. You saw it. They were offering loans and a lot of crap like that. So history definitely is rhyming. And I just think those people, like, I mean, some of the posts, I feel like, oh, no options on big. Like, these people don't know. I guarantee you, some of these people talking about doing options on Bitcoin, they don't know jack. They don't know what an option is. They can't even define an option. They don't even know what do an option. I mean, it's just funny. But yeah, no, there's a lot of people that have kind of talked about that. I mean, the thing too is like, I mean, you look at like some of these these like deterministic predictions. I mean, I forget who it was. I'm not gonna say any names, but there are people talking about how you should go short on ETH and long on Bitcoin, like right. I'm pretty sure it was right at the damn end here. I mean, you would have got blown to smithereens. Ugh. You would have got blown to smithereens. Like, it don't. It's gonna come back at some point. You know. I'm longing Bitcoin, but it wasn't the best idea so far. Lived in Toronto. You're gonna rip off. It's gonna be bigger than Mt. Gox. What's the deal with that? Did people even ever get their money back from Mt. Gox? There's some of these things there's, Arthur Hayes, all that, and I don't even remember the Arthur Hayes stuff too well. He went to jail for a little bit, I think. But yeah, I probably should exit this trade and try something, try something else or whatever. But hoping for that 10-minute bounce or something here. Yeah, I don't know. That 15-minute 200. I could add in some other EMAs and stuff, but yeah. Anyway, there's that. I'll sit in this trade. We'll see what happens. I'm trying to find something like more that we could do that may, I don't know, look a little different or something. The 21 EMA is not bad as well. That's more down for, you could try to, so the thing with that is, okay, this one's, 21 EMA, you could try to, why is it not, hold on. Because, Market Cipher's got the 21 EMA. I think, that could be, you could try to short this. I don't know if you should, though, but yeah. Aster, I never followed that one too much, man. I mean, we could look at it. I would guess it's not probably doing too well. I mean, it's a bubble pop pattern. It's jumping. It could definitely recover from here, especially Bullvember. I mean, other than that, I don't know. It's claimed to be decentralized, but it's more centralized than than decentralized, from what I've heard. There's BNB. I mean, I think this will eventually, this could be topped out too. I mean, look, you're getting the red, red Heiken Ashi. That was a draw. I mean, if we look at previous situations here, I mean, from there, we could even look at previous, markets or whatever. This thing freaking only rips. This thing is insane, man. This thing only, I mean, it's kind of that situation. I mean, here was, more along. So if it's like, let's say if it's I would assume you'd come back to like at least 600 at some point, 400. This type of varies. 400 to 600 would be bear market lows, in my opinion. Nothing that bad, though, actually, but this could change depending on what happens. I mean, we'll see. What did I want to look at right now? Fear and greed, I would hope. We talked about that, but anyway, I want to do, crypto funding rates. That's what I want to look at here. What's up, Carlton? So yeah. Liquidations here and there, I mean. 1 point, 114, 116. More liquidations higher than lower, it looks like, at least right now. People flopping grope though, but yeah, maybe up to a little bit higher. Maybe we'll jump here. I mean, that EMA I kind of like. I'm just looking at EMAs here. This is more, just little scalpers stuff, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think BNB, if history repeats, it would probably hold up better in some other things, I'll tell you that much. Market will pump when government reopens. We don't know when that'll be, but We could look on Polymarket with the odds. I think it's mid-November that people are thinking. Fed decision, Maduro out. So let's see. Go. Yeah, here we go. Man, nobody knows. Okay, favored for later. I guess it could go on until everybody will be freaking when you come home to visit your family or whatever. Everybody's gonna be complaining about that or whatever. But if it goes on, yeah, I think it'll probably go on through Thanksgiving, maybe even I mean, if it's like what we saw in what was it, 2019 into 2020, or no, 2018 into 2019. That was after the midterm election. Yeah, I think it was after the midterm election last time with Trump. They did it. Yeah, it went to early January, so we'll see. Um, I mean, it could end earlier. There's just so much, polarization and nonsense in government, and the thing too is like, man, like I mean, I don't even live most of the year in America anymore, but you know, every time I meet Americans or every time I'm around they or even Western Europeans. I mean, those are two demographics. Like Canada, Australia too, to a certain extent, probably Canada definitely, but all they talk, man, they politics comes up immediately, man. I mean, not everybody, but man, it's like that's the only thing. It's kind of like that's the only thing they talk about. They're passionate, yeah. They're passionate about politics. The thing too is like I guess who's the main people that really care? It's like old people, I guess, to a certain old people. They're the highest voting demographic. Old people vote. I guess when you're old, there's just nothing to do, and like all the politicians are all so old, so you relate to them more because you're old. I mean, it's kind of like that. I guess Um, that's the thing with it, but yeah, I mean, I feel like like that's the thing too. Like we were, I was in some Discord, talking to a few people, and there was somebody there was a little bit older. Yeah, he was like in his late 60s, and like they were asking him like, did people talk about politics as much? Did women, especially did women talk about in America? Did women talk about politics as much? 30 years ago or 20 years ago? No, hell no. Much less. People are very, 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 very passionate about politics in the U.S. Um, I don't know why. I think it's just the rage bait of the social media and all that. Because no matter what, no matter what you're into with something with politics is going to kind of come up when you're scrolling a lot of times. People post about it. It's just the more polarization of that aspect. But yeah, no, people are, yeah. Um, that's the thing too. Like, what is the age group of boomers? Like, what's the minimum? Is it age 60 to age 80 or 75 maybe? I'm trying to think like what the. Yeah, I think it is like the boomers or yeah, even the older. I mean, the greatest generation. There's not too many of them left, obviously, because that was the generation before the boomers was the greatest generation. But yeah, they do watch cable news, man. And I mean, well, I would think they watch more Fox than the CNN, MSNBC, but a lot of them are into the. That's what I heard too. Yeah, the average demographic that watches MSNBC is a 70-year-old American woman, 70-year-old woman in the U.S. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess suburban America is just boring to a certain extent. I mean, suburban America because the thing with suburban America is like, yeah, most people in suburban America like they got enough money, they own their house, but they're not like wealthy enough most of the time where they could have all their meals delivered. They still got to go to the grocery store. They still cook food. I mean, even if they have the money to have food delivered and stuff like that, if their groceries delivered, they still do it. Maybe they don't know how to. Okay, yeah, 46 to so between the ages of like it's like 80 would be the oldest. Youngest would be like 60. Yeah, yeah, and that's a big demographic too. I think that's one of the highest. Because that's when they had a lot of kids. That's when they still had quite a few children usually. Especially with antibiotics were around back then when they were born. So I think that's when they first came in the 40s, right? Yeah. 40s or 50s, when they were kind of mainstream. So they all lived until adulthood. Most of them, they all made it till adulthood. But yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the wealthy. That's the main. I mean, that demographic controls the most amount of money in the U.S. too. Because I mean, billionaires control what $6 trillion. U.S. billionaires is $6 trillion. I mean, they control 10%, I think, 5 to 10, something like that. But like the boomers, people between 1 mil to 100 mil, like, they control like what, 40%, of the wealthy, maybe even 50%. Like they control a lot. Like that's the big amount you want to try to take from too. If you're trying to like, get more socialist. And I would see in the 2030s, they would try to go after the 401ks, IRAs, all that type of stuff. That's what I would guess. And you get more of a reason to do so. You get more of an ability to do so if the economic things get worse, which I think likely the 2030s will be a lost decade in that sense. If you follow that pattern, 20 years good, 10 years off, but everything, who knows, who knows. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what I would, that's kind of what I would guess there. But back to, yeah, I mean, suburban America, pretty boring. I mean, the thing too is like, you gotta be, even in the big cities in America, it's just, I mean, if you're in New York City, cool, yeah, that's more, but that's not even as safe as it used to be. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta check out Austin more. But yeah. What was I gonna say here? So we're up 430%, $430. Yeah, it is just not too much is happening, but not too much of a surprise, given the circumstances. But I'll come back up on the 5 minute. I'll look at the 2 minute. Come back, trying to come up a little bit. So yeah, I mean, there's that. Yeah, that jump there. Hopefully we hold. Continue up a little bit. I mean, trying to get up to 112, I would assume, would be a good kind of goal here. So yeah. I always appreciate you smashing the like button. If you guys are just tuning in, I'm doing this trade over on TapBit. That's a new exchange I decided to put some money on. Non KYC, no VPN required. And so not bad. Pretty good. And let me show you the no, not that one. Not that one either. This one. No, not this one. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, here we go. I got you guys. Deposit 200, get 100. Deposit 100, get 30. Not too often we get these bonuses. Check it out if you're interested. 20% off your fees for life. If you deposit at least 200, I'll give you 1 free month in the Aldo Empire VIP Discord. So check it out. The link is second link down below. So yeah. Yeah, I mean the thing too with like I don't know if you'll see it could be different. I don't know. We'll see in the next few months, what ends up happening. To be honest, I'm not too hopeful for an altcoin season, but I'm hedged pretty properly where I would, I believe I would do relatively well if we do see some type of, altcoin season. So, yeah, I mean, it's just my two satoshis. Higher low there on SPY versus gold. So if you could hold this area, that would get some momentum. I don't know. This may be where you break downward, though. But yeah. Gold. It's just like everything's overheated to a certain extent, man. I'm gonna look at real estate a little bit. Real estate's been down slightly, finally, but generally still kind of coming up here. You had a peak. When was your last kind of peak here? A little peak in what month? May. So yeah, 22-year little. I mean, I would assume that if you could avoid recession until end of decade or whatever, you'd probably do something along these lines of real estate. Just a much more like this is like we're moving on. Yeah, very. Here we go. Yeah, it's the same as like this situation. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like this situation. So I mean, what would you get for real estate right now? You could get 15% over 5% a year, which I think is pretty average for real estate. If something's 15%, yeah. So if it's worth a mil, 1.15 mil, it's worth 500K. I mean, what would you get? 560. that's that situation. So yeah, that's what I would kind of assume. But a couple more years, I would think. There's that kind of cycle. But I think when you got what is this average like house in America, 340K. I think once you get to 400K or 450, it's probably nail in the coffin for a while. Um, I don't think it'll be this catastrophic. Probably at least not against the U.S. dollar. But yeah, that 2012 area is where things really yeah. Because if you're thinking 20, if you're thinking 18 years from 2012, 18-year cycle, 2030 would be the top. Hmm. I don't use the MACD, but that's not saying that's a bad. I'm not saying the MACD is bad to use. Um, so yeah, a little jump, trying to get a little jump here on the 15. So yeah. But yeah, the thing too here is what was I gonna say here? Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like, it's crypto has been a little bit boring, but maybe as we get more into this month, you got a new trading week coming up. In what about 24 hours? So maybe we get the ball rolling a little bit. Some stuff happens. So yeah, um, balls. Wait. Beam ball meme migrate. Yeah, I don't know. This meme crap is annoying. I think some of the we came out with the ETH staking, the first ETH staking ETFs relatively. I mean that could be, top signals. All these other ETFs getting approved. There's just a lot of ETF now. I don't even know, but I mean yeah, that could be kind of top signal stuff. I want to look at, what was the ones of not going to say any names, and man, some people on crypto Twitter have been like so arrogant about these. Like, it's like the next specs thing, all that. And I think that these may see a bad 2026, but they could, long term, could be potential, obviously. But yeah, because that was kind of your June P. Yeah, I don't know if this is when the SPY started to outperform the S&P, or yeah, it started to outperform Bitcoin in July as well. So yeah. Palantir, did this just make a new all-time? Yeah. This is where, I mean, this just looks so overheated, man. I mean, yeah, that 2 week. I mean, you getting a little bit more, maybe up to 220. I think you're close to the end on this, but who the hell knows? I mean, yeah, that weekly, maybe that next 2 week, I don't know, yeah, I don't know. I think 26 won't be as good. I'll say that. Yeah, I mean your house. I mean it depends where you bought real estate too. I mean I think most. I mean most homes that were worth 300 back then are not worth that much now, bro. Like I mean, I know of some homes that were worth like 300 back then, and they're worth like 600 now. Like I mean, most stuff didn't go up that much. You're probably in a hot market somewhere like Florida, maybe Texas. I don't know. Like you could be California, New York City, maybe. You're somewhere pretty good, JB. I think most houses didn't go up that much. um, but yeah, Vine. That just sounds like it's a meme, right, or something. Yeah, it's probably a new one, or no, not too new actually. Okay, I have no opinion on this. I don't think it'll do too much, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we jump here. Orange County. Yeah, I mean that's a hot count, obviously. Yeah. The suburb, yeah. I mean, those hot places always do the best. I mean, the places with the high property tax in rural areas that no one wants to live, they do the worst generally. If you have lesser population, like kind of like what you see in Japan and other places. I mean, obviously that real estate market doesn't do as well. That's the supply and demand, but people always kind of want to live in big cities too. I don't know if I mean I don't know if there's really, I mean, there's scarcity in land, but if there's less people, who wants to, why do you need more land? You know what I mean? There's that too. But I think you'll still follow a good cycle for real estate, especially in hot areas. Um, so yeah, I mean, people want to be in Orange County is very nice. Orange County is more like Florida in a lot of ways. I mean, and I'm sure like If you're comfortable telling me, JP, like what are you paying property taxes on that a year? Like I'm sure it's not that bad. Like I'm sure it's like not that high. That's the only taxes in California that aren't that bad is the property taxes. That's why it's kind of a gold mine to invest in real estate in California because you don't pay any income taxes on it generally, and your property taxes are relatively reasonable. The burden though is being able to afford it. It's so expensive, but yeah. Orange County's pretty good. I mean, the thing too is like America's an aged country too, to a certain extent. Like, unless you're in like the big cities, you're not gonna have that much of a young population. I mean, even in the big cities, even in Osaka, Japan, where I'm right now, I mean, it's not. There's a very old population. There's young people, in the cool places, in the nightlife areas, but I mean, it's not. It's an old population. Um, that's what I will say. I mean, I mean, for every like in Vietnam, there's a lot of young children, and they're always running around and stuff. For every young child that's moving around quickly in Vietnam, there's an old person that's moving slowly in Japan, and it's just a circular reality of life, you know. Mm, thinking here. Mm, yeah, I don't know here. I mean, in terms of cryptos, most of this is pretty boring. Big tech, I mean, I think you're getting close to some of these tops. I mean, you're hitting that's a pretty big area for Amazon. I mean, this thing too from 21. I was thinking, for people who bought back here, yeah, not a bad return. I'll tell you that much. Man, do you still have a mortgage after let's see 22 to yeah, you probably still have a mortgage, I guess. So it's an escrow, right? Yeah. Japan's really cool. Definitely a good place to visit. I mean, it's similar to Taiwan in some ways in terms of like how developed it is and all that. Um, I've mainly been in Osaka so far, but I'll see some more, kind of areas relatively soon. So yeah, mm. But Japan's cool. Definitely a really cool place to go to visit all that good stuff. I mean, it's pretty reasonable too for the. I mean, it's definitely cheaper than. I mean, it's probably not cheaper in Eastern Europe, but all like Western Europe, Nordics definitely would be a lot cheaper, probably half the price. For what you get, very reasonable, I would say. I mean, most things are half of what they would cost in the U.S. or Western Europe or whatever. So very reasonable in that aspect. Um, so yeah. Hmm. Trigger wave right here in that weekly. Yeah. Nvidia. I mean, it obviously looks so overheated when you look at a lot of these. I mean, that was 20. Yeah, that was your drop there. The thing too is like even with this, Trump tariff drop. I mean, just look at the maybe the three. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to 300, but yeah. Let's see here. I mean, are we off the? Let's just see your next like kind of. Yeah, I mean, you're just breaking through this like it's no one's business here. You're just breaking through too. I mean, hold on. You are coming down a little bit. If you lose that area, if you lose 200, that's no bueno. Um, you could mess with, some of these here. That would be a point, maybe up to 240. 240 seems high though. $5 trillion market, just insane. Yeah. What's up, D crypto? Oh, interesting. So much better. Nice. I mean, if you bought something in 2012 in general, your freaking mortgage rate is probably like what, 4 or 5% back then. I mean, let's see, what were mortgage rates in 2012? Very, I mean, that's the thing too. Probably a lot of people wouldn't have like expected that, you know. Let's see here. So that was the low of the low, like two. If you imagine a 2% mortgage rate, wow. 2012. Okay, that was a volatile year for it, but you're probably under like 3-4%. You're probably in the threes, which is very low. And then you stayed very stagnant for a while. I mean, you did come up to five almost at one point, December of 18. But then you fell off a cliff, you know. So you're kind of in that big area, and then you drop down. I mean, you had some volatility here. I mean, this is something that generally trends downward, you know. I mean, it went up in the 70s. I guess if you compare the 2020s to the 70s, you know, it's gone up so far, but yeah, I mean, that was a full, wait, hold on a second there. Yeah, it was 7% to, 17. I mean, I would think with the nation's debt and all that good stuff, you know, this would probably generally go down some more. I mean, it's low sixes right now. I would think if everything else goes down, this would probably, you know, especially with the new Fed chair, maybe you could look at mid fives to low fives next year. I don't know though. Yeah, I don't 3.75. Yeah, I mean that's nothing, man. I mean that's like, think about it this way: if you have a mortgage, you know, I don't know, if you have like a 300K mortgage, say you owe 300 or 400 or something, and you go from, you know, what is it now? I mean, you say you had 7%. You go from like 7% to 3% or 3.75. I mean, that's easily $1,000 less a month. I don't know the math off the top of my head, but it's easily 500 to $1,000 less a month. I mean, probably 1,000. I mean, because if you're paying, let's say you're paying like, I don't know, 3,500, you know, with property taxes, insurance. Um, yeah, it probably would bring it down. Yeah, it'd probably bring it down to $1,000 if you were to. Yeah, I mean that's a big deal. 12 grand a year. I mean, 12 grand a year is not what it used to be, but still. Um, mm, mm, yeah. So that's that. Uh, 375 down 500. Yeah. I mean, this is just stream is less entertaining than I would have hoped it would have been. I mean, I guess your hold that like EMA, try to come up a little bit more. It's boring, man. I mean, it's a Sunday. Some of the football games are on relatively soon, I think. I'm gonna try to get to bed at a more reasonable hour today, but yeah. Um, what do you guys? Any ideas? What are you guys thinking? I mean, it's. I would say macro for this market is not the best right now. I mean, you know, it's just not. I think we could be in for a cold winter. You know, but we'll see. You know, that November is possible. DXY is interesting. I didn't look at that yet. I think this is finally where you're starting to break upward, as you did here last time, end of 24. Something in that rhyme, but the thing here is like, I mean, you bro, everything came up with it, but I don't know if that's, you know, I mean, here 23, you came down. Yeah, it's more like 20. I guess actually more like this, but the difference here is, does crypto come down? Does crypto come down as it comes up? You know, I don't know. I want to look at the Argentinian. That's one everyone was taught. The Argentinian peso. I want to look at. Argentinian. Yeah, I guess tether versus the. Interesting how they did. That's interesting. I don't know what the hell that chart would look like. Yeah, so U.S. dollar obviously been outperforming at a good amount. But it's like not as cheap. I mean, I was there back in here. Yeah, back when they were getting it under control, yeah, March or April. So I guess theoretically, based on that, it would be a little bit cheaper to go there now. But, you know, who knows? Anyway. What are your favorite crypto? What are your favorite cryptocurrencies? Do you even accumulate cryptos, bro? Do you even accumulate, bro? Do you even buy the dips, bro? I always found that funny. Do you even lift, bro? That's like the bro science video. There we go. The greatest YouTube video of all time here. Do you even? I guarantee you it'll come up. Like if you type in "Do you even lift?" And I've met this guy. Here we go. 11 years ago. And this is like classic YouTube right here. I'm surprised he only like a 2.5. He probably doesn't post anymore.
Just because you actually lift weights or think you might be in shape doesn't mean you're going to get any credit for lifting. I've created a flow chart to answer the age-old question: do you even lift? Do you go to the gym? Yes, you do. What do you do at the gym?
Look at this Italian man.
What are you, a child? You don't lift. You do cardio? You don't lift.
You don't lift.
You do weight training. Too bad you do machines. They're the ones lifting. You're not.
The thing is, this is actually pretty accurate to a certain extent. I just want to look at it. Yeah. Do you do? You probably don't lift if you do classes. Do you go to the gym? Obviously, don't lift. That one's not needed. But yes, do you do cardio? You know, I mean, usually this is the weight train. Okay.
TRX with a question mark. That.
TRX. I've never been doing handstands. Oh.
That leads nowhere. That's pretty much self-explanatory. Okay, you do body weight exercises. Are you white? Yes, you are white. Okay, that's called yoga, and you don't lift. No, you're not white. Well, then you must be black. No, you're not black. What are you, white?
Have you guys seen this? Have you guys heard of this? I guess, yeah.
Yes, you are black. Do you lift in a pot?
You probably wouldn't even be able to get away with this today. I wonder if this would if you get in trouble for saying what he's saying here today. I wonder if I'm gonna get in trouble for even. I found this very funny. I mean.
Yes. All right, bro. Have a nice day. Didn't mean nothing by it. You do free weights. All right. But it's circuit training. Is it CrossFit? Yes. Do you even lift?
I agree.
No,
yeah.
It's not CrossFit. Don't lie to me. Yes, it is. Do you even lift?
What does he mean by circuit training? Like, what is that, like supersets? Like what circuit training? Oh, is that like where you? That's yeah. That's tough to do because a gym's got too many people there. You know, you gotta have the whole gym to yourself.
As you can see, this is an endless cycle, which is CrossFit. Back at the top.
I feel like everyone's heard the term, like, do you even lift, bro? You know what I mean? Or do you, yeah, like everyone's heard that expression, but I wonder if this is the video that really, I think the expression was around, and then he kind of amplified it through this video. And it's got like 11 million views.
Yes, you go to the gym. Yes, you do weight training. You do free weights.
The thing with body weight too is no one's really getting that jacked from just doing a bunch of push-ups. Like I mean, you could get some. I mean, it's better than the average person, obviously, but nobody's. You know, if you're just doing air squats and push-ups, or even pull, like you can look good, sure, yeah, but nobody's getting that big from that. You know what I mean? It may be better in some ways. You know, it probably does not lead to injury, but I mean, I kind of agree with most of what he's saying here. Do you lift in the park? That's there are some people who lift in the park that do pretty well. I mean that's like more calisthenic stuff, but yeah.
Bodybuilding, we're getting somewhere. Do you look like you bodybuild? Yes. Doubt it. Do you even lift? Yes, you do look like you bodybuild. Are you aesthetic? Yes. Are people admiring? What's that?
That's what frickin' the dude from Fresh and Fit podcast, Myron, that's not his real name. People are admiring your gains. That's what this term is from. When is this video uploaded? Hold on. This is important stuff here. This video was uploaded in 2013. I wonder, that's when people were saying that. Yeah, I remember 2013. Yeah, people were starting to, yeah, for a few years after that. Yeah, that's where Myron Gaines, that's when he came up with that nickname or whatever. Which is, I don't know if you guys knew about that, but he had to come up with that from this. It's very creative.
Obviously not. Do you even lift? Yes, people are Myron. What's your Instagram? Never mind, found it. You need to work on your lats.
Your lats? Oh, of all things, lats. Okay, more pull-ups. I guess it was still, yeah, the vibe in 2013. It was not much different than it was today. I mean, you didn't have Reels that came out in what, 2019. It was without the TikTok crap. It was that time in history was a that was an yeah.
Fall Yellow Brick Road, do you even lift? Okay, so you're not aesthetic. Are you big? I've seen bigger. Chart says that you don't lift.
Well, if you're not aesthetic, you obviously don't lift. So
Yes, you are big. You're looking soft though. You need to cut.
yeah, so you don't yeah.
Back at the top again. Yes, gym, weight training, free weights, bodybuilding. Are you strong? No.
That's subjective.
Go directly to CrossFit.
Wait, how does that lead to? That doesn't make sense. Are you strong? Okay, you're not strong. Then you don't lift. You wouldn't. I guess you're saying CrossFit's kind of the risk of injury there is pretty high. I tried it one time. It is a good cardio workout, but I think there's better situations. But yeah, are you strong? Yes.
You are strong.
What do you bench?
You bench 3 plates for sets of 50.
3 plates, 345 plates on each side. That's 300 pounds for sets of 15.
Congratulations, but that's bullshit.
Yeah. That's not. I don't think anyone natural who's got a body fat percentage, a lower body fat percentage, can do that. That's insane. Like usually the biggest like natural people, like the strongest natural people, can only do like that for a couple of reps usually.
You bench 3 plates for sets of 15. My bad. Nice set though, bro. You didn't touch your chest. Do you even lift? As you can see, there's not much hope for you left. Yes, gym, weight training, free weights, bodybuilding. Do you compete? Yes, you do. Did you win? Yes. Were you Arnold? Yes, you are Arnold. Dude, what happened to you? Used to be my hero. Do you even lift anymore? And that proves it. As you can see by my chart, no matter what you do, no matter how good you look, no matter how strong you are, or if you're Arnold, there's no way around it. You might think you lift, but do you even?
Oh, this is Xbox 360 days still too, right? I think this is Xbox 360 days, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it still is Xbox. This is like GTA 5 days, yeah.
New videos every week on like Jenna Marbles' channel or something.
I think he did collab with Jenna Marbles. She got canceled years later, right? She's not relevant. He did collab. I think he did do a collab with her. It was very politically incorrect. It was like sexist. It was it was stuff you'd probably that was interesting from like YouTube days, like when YouTube came out, like 2005, 2008 to that 10-year period, like from 2005 to, or I would say 2008 to 2018. Joe Rogan back then was unhinged too, in terms of what they could talk about, conspiracies, all that. You know what I mean? Like it was, yeah, that area. Basically 2010 to 2020, I would say. Yeah, this is like, yeah. This feels retro. He used to do like a New York accent for these two. Has he done anything lately? I wonder. What is? I'm getting a warning here.
That's it. Dr. Mike is
Oh.
and I got the smoke.
Okay, I can't. Hold on. I can't. I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to broadcast this or whatever. The stream may be restricted or whatever. Sorry. I'm sure you did know somebody. CrossFit is not you definitely can. I would not do CrossFit, especially all the overhead crap. Yeah, you gotta be. I don't think there's better like circuit training you can do or high hit training or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's better stuff. I would say. Um, okay, he's still. I didn't think that. Oh, that's that Bradley Martin shit. Okay, so he still does. I wonder how old he is now. He's probably like mid 30s, probably Andrew Tate's age. Way too many tattoos, in my opinion. I feel like that actually hurt him, the tattoo stuff, because it doesn't. If you have a couple, it looks cool, but now you just look too like. I don't know. She kind of, yeah, she's been relevant in the fitness YouTube or whatever. Guarantee you, like 90% of the people like watching these chicks are men. But yeah, I don't know if you guys care about any of this, but yeah. His retro stuff was the funniest. I used to watch these when I was in college. That's way probably when he was the big. He's still big though. He still gets the views. He's still giant. Wow. Yeah, he's still. Um, he's still probably made. Well, he doesn't upload that much, but yeah, this is probably hilarious. This is probably so retro. What's the most? Does it the do? Is the do you even lift? That's interesting. How that one's the most. The Cali Muscle dude. Yeah, he was popular for a little while. That one's got to be hilarious. That one I've seen. That one's pretty funny. I haven't seen all these, but mm, but remember Ebola? That was relevant. When was that relevant? That was relevant like what 2015 or something. Yeah, it's about right. Yeah, that never really made it to the U.S. I don't think that was tr- less contagious. Yeah. Oh, he probably makes fun of the Smith machine so much. Yeah. Yeah, I met him when he was at Bradley Margin. He was a nice guy. He doesn't actually have a New York accent in real life. He sounds like Evan Aldo. He sounds like, what I mean? That's what's funny about it. He's a very good actor. But yeah, anyway. Um, I think he lives in LA now or whatever. That guy's like a true American. Like, I don't know. It just feels very like that retro. Like, I feel like from 2000. You kind of had those vibes from like when YouTube came out. So like, I mean, I don't know if everyone was posting on YouTube in 2006 or 2007 or it was pretty relevant 2000. I would say 2007 to like 2019, 2020 or before TikTok came out. Like when the hell did TikTok was like what 2019 probably that got pretty relevant, pretty big with the short form content. 2008 to 2018, that 10-year period approximately, plus minus a few years, that was very retro. And then things got a bit different. Yeah, things got a bit different after that. But the trade is doing okay. I can she'll tap it a little bit more, tapping those bits. You can tap that. I like the word tapping. Tapping. I like to tap. 20% cash back on your fees, and if you deposit 200, you get 100 back. Only at my link. These are only on my link. And remember, if you deposit at least 200, open a support ticket in the Discord with your UID. And we'll get you sorted 1 free month there. So check it out. Curious what they're. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah. This should be okay. So let me just show you guys if you're dumb enough to take this trade with me. Reckless enough or whatever. I don't know. These, I mean, 112 was where I'm targeting. I'm trying to find like okay, so I kind of if you're entered on the jump off of the 15, you're looking for kind of a trigger wave above the 15 or you're looking for a red dot above the 0 line here to get out. So it's probably going to be actually it's not that long. Oh, I'm on a different. Okay, I'm like 2 hours behind, so a couple hours probably. That's what I'd look for. You could actually set that too. That would be the place to get out, but. Yeah, anyway, yeah, it's been on about an hour and 20 minutes. It's 12:30 a.m. where I am right now, so I'm going to get going. So I'll see you guys. Smash the like button. Always appreciate you guys tuning in. And I'll see you guys really soon. See you real soon, guys. Smash the like button. We'll do a chat in the Discord relatively soon. We appreciate you guys.